All right. It says I'm live, so I'm going to believe it. Hey, everybody. Hope you're here. I hope I'm here. The lighting is really bad. It is later than I usually come on. I'm usually on here at about 7 p.m. Central Time, and it's 8 p.m. Central Time. So it's a little later. It's a little darker, and I didn't make a whole lot of plans. So my my light that always goes out in the middle of the show is not even on now. All right. So everybody come on in here. Press in. It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks. Maybe nobody shows up. Maybe I'm the only one here. Let me know if you're out there. Type something in the comments section. Come in and say hi. Hello, Ethan. Say hi and where you're from, where you are, where you're watching, and let me know how the audio and the video is, if it's working. I hate to be sitting here talking for 2 or 3 minutes, and I don't know if the audio is working. My microphone says it's on, so we'll just see. We'll give it a few minutes. If nobody shows up, then Mrs. Bunker and I'll be watching Yellowstone earlier than we had expected. If you're just getting here, I am drinking a Bunker Stout, homemade stout from May. I made this in May, bottled it in May, and I just went down the root cellar and I got a couple of bottles. The big Growth style bottles. And so here I am. Hello, War Dog Heim. Good to see you. Montana. Hava is here. I don't know if she's still in Miami or not. I am here. I've been gone a couple of weeks. My hair is longer. I'm wearing my Orange County Choppers hoodie. I did not go out and spend a bunch of money on an Orange County Choppers hoodie. I got it at the thrift store for $3. And it's comfy and nice. And I've been wearing my Bunker Nation one most of the time, and I just can't wear it all the time because then it gets dirty. It's got to get washed. So that's what's going on. I'm going to give some people time to get here. I got to do this box thing. That's what we do here. We got to do the box to get started. Then when we come back, we're going to talk about time travel robots. So there's that. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And if you have questions or comments, anything you want to talk about, I really don't have anything I've got to talk about. And War Dog Arm says he's lost another 8 pounds. Excellent. We're going to meet right here within a week. If you're 202 pounds, I'm about to turn the direction again and head back down. So I got to, hello, Donna. From the Hub City, Pat up there in snowy Montana. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm gonna be heading back down. I'm about to hit 200 on purpose. I've been gaining on purpose. Hello, Boyd. I need to talk to you about your diet. I'm just the guy you need to talk to. Hello, Sandy. Good to see you. So I on purpose, I went from my recent low of 182 and I'm almost up to 200. And I gained like 4 pounds on my trip to Arkansas, maybe a little bit more than I wanted. But this has all been planned, and I'm going to hit 200 here pretty quick, and then I'm going to head back down. I'm going to cut back down to 185, get rid of some of the body fat while I continue to gain, hopefully. So that's I got 1 or 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 more days of eating. I ate a lot today. Everything and almost everything I ate today was home raised. Yeah, part of the muscle building. Home raised, homegrown. So this morning, I had a big old pork chop as big as your head. It was that thick, 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches thick, from our pigs that we had butchered a couple of months ago. And then what else? Eggs. Had a bunch of eggs, a lot of protein. And from our chickens, I just walked out to the chicken. I'm not yelling. I just walked out to the chicken yard and got eggs and then had eggs. And then just now, before I came down here, I had 4 pieces of pork sausage Mrs. Bunker made for me. And right now, I am drinking a stout that I made and I bottled in May from the root cellar. So it's all healthy stuff, but yeah, I just kind of been eating whatever I want. I'm not crazy, not eating a lot of junk, but being full and doing a lot of weights, and so putting on some bulk, and then I'm gonna crash it back down, shred back down to 185, and we'll see where we are. Wardogheim says his pullets have started laying. Well, that's a good thing. You can keep them laying if you give them hot water to drink every morning. We've gotten them to go all the way through the winter. Now it's much warmer down here than it is up in the blue skies of Montana. All right, so we're going to talk about time travel robots. As you know, if you've watched this show for a very long time, the thing is never the thing. Just because I talk about a thing, I'm quite often talking about something else. I'm just using that thing to talk about the thing. And so I'm going to give you the background of the time travel robot story. I know everybody's been waiting to hear about it. Actually, nobody has been. So here's the thing. So I was up there in Arkansas, just spent 5 days up there visiting my children and grandchildren, and had a really, really good time. It was a wonderful trip. But we would spend some time sitting out on the porch talking. I'm a guy who is a noticer. I notice things. And what I do a lot of times on this show is I pick up on stuff that's going on. Things start happening that are not coincidences. People start talking about things over here and over here. And once I hear 2 or 3 people bring up something that has some kind of logical fallacy in it, then I come on here and we talk about it. And I tell you how to think, how to understand what's going on. Things that are going on in the world are not accidental. And so a lot of times it's just a fallacy that's been entered into the zeitgeist. But what was going on is I talked to my son and I talked to my daughter, I talked to some other people, and I heard 3 or 4 people all mention in separate stories that somebody had in talking to them had said, well, are you 100% sure? And I guess it's kind of a micro-bullying tactic that's going on right now amongst some of the younger generations, where if you're working in construction or if you're working a job or you're working and you tell your boss something, they'll say, are you 100% sure? And they kept repeating this, and I heard it from different people, and I heard it on the radio. While we were traveling, somebody said, are you 100% sure? And so I started thinking about that, and I was talking to my daughter, and I said, I'm not even 100% sure that we're not surrounded by robots. I think we were actually in one of the springs. There was a hot springs, and there's another springs that we went to. And I said, I'm not 100% sure that there aren't actual time travel robots around. And I cannot be 100% sure because I don't know. And saying you don't know, hey, Scott, good to see you. Saying you don't know is completely a valid thing. And so to prove the point, this is going to be called my time travel robot proof. Here's the thing. You have to kind of nod your head along the way. Are there robots? Of course there are robots. Some of these things you can't say with absolute certainty, but we know there are robots. Have robots gotten more technologically advanced? If you've been living as long as I have, of course they have. We had the robots that were in the shows in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s. And you have robots now. That's the second posit. The third posit, have robots become more and more lifelike? Yes, they have. They are able to make robots now that, although there is some uncanny valley involved, robots have become more and more lifelike. And there's no reason to believe that trend is not going to continue. And by lifelike, I mean human-like. About 4 years ago, I posted a story on Facebook about a company that was working on self-replicating AI robots. Basically, robots that could start reproducing themselves by creating more robots. Self-replicating robots, at least the concept and the idea exist. There's another philosophy in this genre of thinking, and that is that once the technological society, the technic society, determines that a thing is possible, they generally will keep working on it until they accomplish it, if it's accomplishable. So that's the next thing. All of these are just pieces of the puzzle I'm laying on the table. So we have robots. Robots are getting more advanced. Robots are becoming more lifelike. And there are at least plans and processes to create AI self-replicating robots. Is it logical to assume that at some point they are going to hit a level outside of the uncanny valley where a humanoid robot of some type would be indiscernible from a regular human? In other words, it could be around. Leave that one hang for a little while because I haven't got the proof for that one out yet. All right. So now we're going to take some jumps. You're going to have to follow along here. If time travel ever exists, so it doesn't have to be now, if it ever exists, and I want to add to the posit here that Einstein and a lot of other physicists believe that time travel is possible, at least theoretically. We don't have, let's just say, we don't have official time travel right now in 2020 that we know of. If time travel is ever going to exist, if technology continues to advance, and at some point, anytime in the future, in 3,000 years or in 3 weeks, the moment that it does exist, especially if there's time travel backwards, then when time travel exists becomes immaterial. Because time travel renders it immaterial. The when of when it's invented doesn't matter. If time travel ever exists, then there's time travel in the 1800s. If a reverse time travel ever exists, then there's time travel in 1985. If time travel ever exists, there's time travel in 2020. You're not thinking right, War Dog Heim. If you think there's a hiccup for robots, that's because your mind is stuck in linear time. Once time travel exists, even if it's in 3,000 or 5,000 years, that technology will have already been solved, and those time traveling robots will be here. You understand? Not able to reproduce biologically, but able to create more robots. So you get what I'm saying? It doesn't matter whether the technology exists right now, because the technology will come here from whenever time travel, self-replicating AI robots exist. This is not a leap of logic. Right. They will come visit here because that's what time travel does. The technology will then exist in our time. All right. It is then plausible or it is incumbent, I guess, to posit that there are two possible realities that we have to face. Number one, there are AI self-replicating time travel robots among us right now that are indiscernible or indistinguishable from humans. Or the other option is time travel of that sort for robots never exists. They're either already here or time travel for robots doesn't exist. Yes, it does say that, but you have to apply it to the situation, Hannah. There is nothing new under the sun, and there can't be anything new under the sun because there is no time outside of our created reality. Time is a part of creation, and it has physical attributes. It can be bent, it can be slowed down, and it can be sped up. It bends around heavy celestial bodies. Is everybody still with me? Have I lost anybody? There are zero logic leaps in this posit. Either self-replicating AI, humanoid robots, indistinguishable from humans, are already among us, or time travel never exists, even as far in the future as you can go for robots. Now, you can sit around and you can do some mental masturbation and you could say, well, what if they invented time travel, but they all decided not to use it? There's an out. You got an eject button there. Not going to happen, but there's an out. You can come up with half a dozen time cop theories as to why time travel AI self-replicating robots exists at some point in the future, but aren't here now. Although all of those fail, Occam's razor, which I've taught you here. All right. Boyd, I'm sorry you lost me on Facebook, but we want you on YouTube anyway. Everybody right now, hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. Okay, so do I need to review? There are right now, provably, either AI self-replicating humanoid robots among us that you could not tell the difference between them and another human, which means it could be your waitress, it could be your insurance agent, it could be the person who is changing your tire on your car, or that form of time travel for robot never exists. Now we'll go back to the original question. Are you 100% sure that the boss who is asking you if you are 100% sure is not an AI self-replicating robot from the future who is indistinguishable from a human? You cannot be 100% sure that he's not. Even if you get a knife and dissect him and he's all blood and guts, that doesn't mean that the technology doesn't exist at some point in the future to create AI robots that are so realistic that their parts are indistinguishable from human parts. You cannot, it's impossible for you to be 100% sure that your waitress is not an AI self-replicating robot. I've proven this just now in the 18 minutes that we've been on this show. You got it? So the next time someone says, are you 100% sure? You can say, no, I cannot be 100% sure because I don't know that you're not a robot. What's the point? What is the point of this whole rant? Why am I yelling? The point is that we need to moderate our certainty. We need to stop demanding absolute, complete certainty from other people, and we need to stop thinking that those types of things are even possible. We were at a restaurant the other night, sitting outside, having a $1 margarita. And there was a lady who was a table over, and she was screaming everything like I am right now. This would be inappropriate for me to be talking to you at a table for four in a restaurant at this level. Why? Because why in the world would I be that certain of anything that I'm saying in that venue? Why would I not have at least some hesitation that everybody else is hearing what I'm saying. Right now, that's what this is. This is the venue for this. I don't talk like this when I'm in a restaurant. All right. There are time traveling indistinguishable from humans, all AI self-replicating robots. This is some kind of code speak. The fabric of space-time is a great subject. You're right. Matt Ryan says, I like when Hawkins threw a party for time travelers, but no one showed. Did they not show, though? That's the question. Is it possible that, of course, because Hawkins believes in evolution, I actually wrote a very first novel I ever wrote when I was circa 20 years old. 21, maybe 22. When I met my wife, I was writing a book. That novel posited the idea that if evolution exists, macroevolution, then eventually we ought to evolve outside or beyond the use of bodies, because bodies are the single biggest detriment to human continuance in existence. Bodies are a detriment. If that's what you're thinking, then bodies are a detriment. So I actually wrote a book where humans eventually evolved beyond the use of bodies and became basically thought creatures, who then, through thousands of years of existing only as thought creatures in space, determined that that was an unhappy existence, and so they created bodies again. So it's wrong to assume that, first of all, that because you throw a party and no one shows up, that they don't exist. Second of all, that they didn't show up, but they perhaps they showed up in a form and were unable to communicate with you. Once we go down that road, and Hawkins was famous for fallacies like this, but can he prove to himself whether or not he's a robot? That's a good question. That's like a Turing test, a Turing self-test. Am I a self-replicating robot? Well, we'll have to see. I'll have to prove it to myself. I'm going to do a self-Turing test. All right, so I'm here for you guys. If you have questions and comments, I'm sitting here having a beer, but this actually happened. This conversation actually happened. And sometimes I do these thought exercises just to help people see a bigger principle. And the thing that is actually the thing is that you need to moderate your certainty. Now, the question I would ask you is, if you're in the comment section, is it more likely that AI self-replicating time travel robots are among us right now? Or is it more likely that for some reason, either time travel is never achieved or it's never achieved for robots? Yeah, my chair needs some WD-40. Oh, Babalu cigar, nice. Criollo 98. Babalu, I suppose that that's from Austin, Texas. At least that's the only place I know of the Babalu factory. How can one prove if they are human, a robot, or something else? That's a good question. We would have to define some terms, because what do we mean by robot? In the preceding proof, I offered the idea that it's possible that a robot can exist that would be indistinguishable from a human. Like, I don't know if it's a replicant or not, but so in other words, it would have blood and bone and all of these things. So that would be a difficult question. We have to define what we mean by robot. Yeah, Austin, Texas. I know Babalu. I actually consider, as you know, I roll cigars very, very well. And I actually considered, Babalu has a school that you can go to learn how to roll cigars. I already know how to roll cigars well enough, but I thought about actually going to the school, because if you go to their school, then you can piggyback on their license, and they will send you out to do parties, rolling parties. So I actually thought about that. You think the AI self-replicating robots are running for president? I'm hoping the technology is better than that. All right. So we don't know if Michael Bunker is a self-replicating robot. Very difficult to prove. And so you guys need to comment on whether you think AI self-replicating humanoid robots exist right now among us. There's no question of whether they will be here in the future. They either exist now, or they don't ever time travel. They don't have the capability of time travel. So let me know which one of those you think. Now, my offering opinion would be, dependent on your theological bent. If you are the type of person who believes in progressive advancement and evolution, and that we are on a endless time cycle of progressive advancement, intellectual advancement, then I think you would have to come to the conclusion, absolutely, that these robots are already among us. I don't know how you could avoid it. It's the same logic that science worshipers, the theological scientism people, used to say that, well, there's got to be a planet out there with life on it because of math. And they have numerous fallacious presuppositions in determining that math proves that because they'll say, if space is X size and there are X amount of planets, X amount of suns, how many of those suns have planets? How many of those suns have planets that would have planets in the living zone? And then they do this math and they come up with some calculation. That is mental masturbation, because they can't prove any of it, not one shred of any of it. It's all just numbers that somebody just jerked out of their mind. But they use this logic to say, we know there's life out there. It may just be so far away that we could never, ever reach it, even with super high speed craft. That's the logic that you would have to, if you have that logic, that purely math will prove something, that we're on this infinite progression of advancement, then you would have to determine that space, time travel, self-replicating robots are already among us. I don't happen to be of that bent. First of all, I don't believe that we are even close to the most advanced humans that have lived on the earth. Not even close, and even in a very short amount of time. I believe that prior to the flood, it's very likely that society was more technologically advanced than we are today. And there's no reason to believe that they weren't. My offer of proof on that is, in our own time, in the last 200 years, 300 years, we have seen building materials and other technology become less and less sustainable. For example, they built with stone 600 years ago, 1600 years ago. Those buildings still exist. We can find them. We can see them. Today, we build with sticks and plastics and things that biodegrade. And as we advance, we invent even more biodegradable materials. This is all featured in my book, Futurity, which has not yet been published, this idea. So, taking that logic, that as a society develops, materials become more and more throwaway, more and more degradable. And if we just look at housing, so houses were made of rocks, castles, big stone. And then as we moved forward in time, they were made of heavy timbers, big, heavy timbers. Some of those buildings still exist. 150 years ago, the Amish were building barns and stuff that still exists today. By the 1970s, we were building with 2x4s, and those buildings do not exist. Very few of them exist. Then we started using sheetrock, which will degrade when it gets wet. I don't know. I think Bordogheim's off on his own. He's talking about the dimensional travel and time travel. I talk about that all the time. I'm just giving you a hard time. So anyways, I'm of the opinion that, first of all, we're not the most advanced human society in history. And second of all, that these advancements happen in cycles. And third of all, that the earth is not as old as people think that it is. And it is very unlikely that we will have time travel, self-replicating AI robots. So then that's the thing. It's all just it's a thinking exercise. All right, if you have questions and comments, go ahead and get them in here. I have allergies, which is I am constantly. All right. Do they get old, wrinkled, gray-haired, arthritis, and other aging? I would say probably, if they need to. You know, sometimes. All right, I'm waiting for your questions and comments. If you have questions and comments, get them in here. If not, Mrs. Bunker's going to come down. We're going to watch. I think we have just the finale left of Yellowstone season 3. In England, they are finding scant remains of housing built only 1,500, 2,300 years ago, built with wood, yet stone structures like Göbekli Tepe are still around from 4,000 years. That's right. And try to find. In fact, we have one at the front of our land that was built in 1930s, a house that's falling down, and not too many more years, and it'll be gone. It'll rot away. It'll be gone. There'll be some nails left. They are finding in some of the ruins of thousands of years ago, even more thousands of years ago, drilled holes that are drilled in rock that are drilled in with precision that we're not even capable of today. And it wasn't aliens. It didn't have to be aliens. They were really, really smart. If we take on faith that Adam had not suffered as yet prior to the fall any degradation of his mental and intellectual prowess, because the fall hadn't happened yet. So there was no spiritual entropy. Then we can say that Adam was the smartest man, save Christ, that ever lived. And it's very likely that that's true. And it's very likely that the first couple of thousand years of humans were way smarter than we are. They lived 900 years. How much could you learn in 900 years? How smart would you be? They didn't need to have aliens to build the pyramids or to build anything else. They were really, really friggin' smart. It's only our stupidity that goes and finds stuff that's even thousands of years younger than that and thinks that those things are 100,000 years old. We have so many flaws in our methodology and our presuppositions because we go back to our founding idea, because we don't moderate our certainty. We can have opinions. So when are you going to publish Futurity or this time-traveling robot story? I don't know about the time-traveling robot story. Futurity will get published at some point, Lord willing. It's really long. Right now, in fact, somebody asked me today, so I'll answer this on here. I just published a book called God in the Storm that everybody needs to read. And if you have read it, you should be doing a review on Amazon.com. I intend right now to publish 4 books in 2021, if the Lord wills it. I'm working on Hell in the Sea right now, worked on it today, and expect to have it done before the end of the year and out sometime after the first of the year. I am working also on Osage 2 Diamonds, which had been previously published by Amazon Publishing, and I have gotten the rights back, and I'm going to republish it under the name Ice Neon with some rewrites, and it will be out sometime early 2021. And then I've got 2 other projects that should be coming out. It could be 5 books, because Time Looter parts 1, 2, and 3 will be out also pretty soon in the next couple of months. I do have a smart group following me, and they're getting smarter. The more you listen to this show, the smarter you will get. Okay, signed hardbacks left me this week with signatures, and Sean should have them on Monday, and they will go out. So we're that close. We're that close to them. They got caught up with me being gone for 5 days. How's the fitness? Hey, thank you, War Dog Heim, for that. I appreciate it. How's the fitness workout going and the making of your movie? Yeah, the movie's on hold until COVID stuff, they figure out what's going on. Fitness workouts are going great. Like I said earlier in the show, I'm putting on some weight on purpose to build some muscle. And then in the next, 5 or 6 days, I'm going to be starting a cut. I'm probably going to cut about 15 pounds, and then we'll see where we are. I'm playing it by ear. And then I'll probably start gaining again. Anyways, thank you, War Dog Heim, for that. You guys can always do they call that a super chat, where you can donate. Also, go to my fundraiser. If I can find the banner for it. Go to the fundraiser, michaelbunker.com/fundraiser. You can also donate directly through facebook.com. Just find me on there, and you can do it through private message. And if you do it through private message, there's no fee either way, and the money's there immediately. All right, so if y'all have questions or comments, get them in. We got a few more minutes, and like I said, if not, then Mrs. Bunker will come, and we're gonna watch. I think it's the finale. We started watching Cobra Kai too, so we're getting some of these, and I've already gone through. I think Cobra Kai, the next season's coming out in January, so she's gonna get caught up on Cobra Kai. And then we probably stop watching television for a while. I watch a lot of YouTube. And I hope you do too. By the way, hit the like button if you're on YouTube. As soon as this show is over, as soon as I finish, give it about 10 minutes. Go to YouTube. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell icon, and that'll let you know every time that I come on. You'll get a, just like Hava said earlier, you'll get a notification that'll tell you, hey, Bunker's on, and then you don't miss the show. What program do I use to live stream to multiple platforms? It's called StreamYard. StreamYard. The word stream like a river, and then yard, and .com. StreamYard.com. They're wonderful. And I'm going right now to, I think, 6 or 7 platforms. So I'm doing YouTube, 3 Facebook pages, Twitch, and Periscope. So anyways, everybody, no matter what platform you're on, if you want to do me a huge favor and help with the show, go to YouTube after this is done, hit the like button and subscribe. All right, y'all. I appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, I'm here for you. As we mentioned earlier, the more you watch this show, the smarter you'll get, because we do thinking exercises all the time. I'm always here for you. If you've got questions and comments on things like survival, off-grid living, making stuff. Bunker Guy is popular. Leave a comment for Mr. Google Pants. That's right. And the analytics, the more comments you leave, the better. So remember, that's what I'm here for. So if you have questions or comments, hopefully I'll be back more often. We have a big plan. I can't tell you about it yet, but I'm thinking some things could be happening here pretty soon for this show. And so I'm hopeful, and we have a plan. That's all I want to tell you is there's a plan. All right, y'all. God bless. Lord willing, I'll see you when I see you. Until then, you guys have a great night.